So this is a light from Tunenge, I believe is. It seems like that's how you say it. Can't say I've heard of Tunenge before. They have a few products on Amazon, and they reached out and asked me if I wanted to review any of their lights. So I had a look onto Amazon, looked at a few of their lights, and this is the one that seemed interesting to me. It's called the S21X, and I chose this light because it's a nice size EDC light, but specifically it takes a AA sized battery. I have a lot of single cell AAA size flashlights, and this is a single cell AA size flashlight, so I like to have different options in what lights I have. I want to have, some that take a AAA, some that take a AA, and this one takes a AA, but it doesn't come with a AA. It's actually dual fuel because the battery that comes in it is this 1000 milliamp hour 3.7 volt lithium ion rechargeable battery. So it's actually a pretty decently powerful light. Of course, if you just throw a standard AA battery in there, you're going to lose a little bit of performance. They don't say exactly what the performance will be with a standard AA battery as opposed to the lithium ion battery. But maybe I'll do some comparisons and we'll just see what that looks like. My first impressions of this light out of the box was I didn't love it that much, but as I used it a little bit, I started to like it a little bit more. But I'll explain why exactly I didn't like it at first. So on the back, you have this tail cap. It's a magnet. And to start, I understand magnets on flashlights. They can be useful in certain scenarios. I rarely ever use a magnet on a light, especially one like this. I'll just keep it in my pocket and, take it out, use it when I need some light real quick. But magnets sometimes can scare me a little bit just because they can mess with electronics and stuff like that. And especially with an EDC light that I'm gonna have in my pocket, I just worry about it messing up my phone or my wallet, stuff like that. I just imagine that magnet, damaging stuff. Now it might not, but that's always a thought that's going through my head when I have a magnet. And I would have probably just preferred it to be just a standard push cap on there. But anyways, the operation of the light, there are a few different modes. And there's your stats right there, but you get high, medium, low, eco, and strobe. So you get a few modes that you have to switch to, and you only have that one tail cap to do it. But the highlight here is your high of 880 lumens. You get a 3-hour runtime on high. Eco mode, 97 hours with 6 lumens. And it is IP68 rated, which is pretty nice. All right, guys, so we're out here with the S21X, and we're going to throw it on high mode real quick and see what it looks like. So I'm back in the backyard where I usually do these tests. And, it's lighting it up decently. For the size, you're not expecting too many lumens, but it's got 880 lumens, which is actually pretty decent. It's not giving me a candela reading on the stat sheet, but it does say it has a 200 meter throw distance. We're going to go mobile now, and I'm only going to show the high mode because, I think that's, what you probably want to see the most on this light. It's a pretty good output, actually. This is only a AA battery sized light. It's obviously got a 1000 milliamp hour battery in there right now. Oh, look at my breath. That looks pretty cool. It is actually, it's a decent output. Absolutely plenty for EDC. You can see pretty good into the woods there. For comparison, here's one I always carry around. It's the Streamlight MicroStream with the AAA, and you can definitely see the difference. This is only 45 lumens running on one AAA battery. I can see a little bit into the woods, but you really can't see much, especially on the camera. Up close it's not too bad, but out there you can't really see much. Something that's not too much bigger in size, you couldn't even see these little trees in between these two trees. You couldn't even see that with the MicroStream. It's obviously much brighter. I will say, for the size, it's definitely pretty impressive. But yeah, to switch through those modes, what you have to do is you only have this one tail cap. If you press the tail cap down, you just get a mode. I think this is like a low or a medium or something. And if you turn it off, if you wait like a couple seconds, you can turn it on and it just keeps, it's gonna stay on that mode. But if you click it like right after, it'll keep switching. And it goes to strobe. You can see how if I leave it off and then back on after a little bit of time, it will remember the mode. But if I click through it, even if it's like a second later, it'll continue to change the mode. If you turn the light on, off, on, maybe by accident, or you turn the light off but you need it back on, you might be switching through these modes by accident. And initially when I got it, I was like, it took me, just a couple seconds to figure out what was going on there, and that's why initially I didn't love how it was operating. But not often, you're just going to be clicking the button a million times, so it's not too bad. Also, it does have momentary, so you don't actually have to click the button. You can just hold that moment. I mean, you can keep clicking that momentary until you get that mode, and then you can kind of just keep it on that mode the whole time. It has a pocket clip that is two-way, and you can put on a hat. And then this was another thing I was kind of confused about, but the paper that it came with clears it up a little bit. So it is IP68 rated, and you can see there's your port to recharge, and it can rotate. But it rotates freely. It doesn't snap into place, or doesn't tighten in any area. It's just freely rotating. So I was like, well, is the USB-C port itself waterproof? Well, it is. They actually do say it right there. Internal waterproof Type-C charging port. So that's pretty nice that the charging port is waterproof itself. I guess this little collar is just to keep excess dust out because it doesn't lock into place. So, it's free to open up like that unless you were to, put a little piece of tape there to keep it from spinning freely, which probably you could easily do. But what's kind of cool is this light came with a couple extra little caps here. It came with an orange one, red one, so you can park cars or, land an airplane, and a white one, which is a diffuser, or, if you're at a concert, you can wave it around in the crowd. All right, here's going to be a quick comparison between the high mode with the AA battery and the lithium ion. So first we have this lithium ion battery. This is the high mode with the 880 lumens. You can see up close here how well it lights up this tree, the fence, the bush, and a little bit farther out over that away. Okay, now I'm going to put the AA in, and we're going to see how that works. And here it is with the AA battery. See over on the tree, the fence, and out into those trees a little bit. Now I will say the performance really isn't that bad. I thought it was going to take a much bigger hit, but this is pretty decent. You still get a lot of light. This is the high mode. Back to the high mode with the lithium ion. It's definitely brighter, and you're going to have a much longer run time. But it's nice to know you can always pop in a single AA and have that ability. And that feature I really like. And here's a comparison to a AAA size light. So this is the Coast PX22, which takes a AAA battery. There's not much difference in size here. You would think these are similar flashlights, but this one just has a lot more power with that lithium ion battery, where this is just taking your standard AAA battery. Now it's a little bit thicker, it's a little bit heavier. I don't think it makes enough of a difference to sway a decision based on size or weight. But that's the Tunenge S21X that I was sent out. I'll leave a link in the description to Amazon if you want to check it out for yourselves. But otherwise, that's all for today. I'll see you later.